Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Diversity is Lit Book Club. This is our discussion of our March Book of the Month pick, which was The Secret Library by Kekla Magoon. Love it, love it. We try to match. Did I see a whole bunch of tabs in yours, Vanessa?
I have a bunch of tabs on mine.
Oh, I think I saw the back because I was like, I see something that's not yellow.
Oh, well, I don't have the cover on right now, so it's
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
that's right.
yeah.
Oh,
That's right. When you
so
take it off,
beautiful.
it's so
Under the
pretty.
dust jacket.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
so pretty.
so ephemeral. Um, so we will be talking spoilers for The Secret Library. So if you don't care about spoilers, keep watching. If you would like to read the book, um, or if you don't want spoilers, close out, save us, read the book, then come back and join us in our discussion. We would love to have you in the comments. But if you are watching, feel free to give your thoughts, feels, and opinions of the book in comments as we discuss what we thought about the book and all the fun stuff. Um, so the only trigger warning that we had for this book was mention of family death. Um, I guess maybe I'd add like grief
Hmm.
and racism and I guess like
Yeah.
homophobia, mentions of slavery. I'm trying to think like what other trigger warnings can I add to this? Does anyone else have any that you can think about?
um,
Um.
I think you said
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's about it.
yeah. Parental control struggles.
Yes.
Misery will go into. Um, but yeah. Other than that, pretty mild. So, So, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Holly Davis. I'm the author of A Diamond Bright and Broken, which is a YA fantasy. And I'm also an avid reader of fantasy. I usually read YA and middle grade fantasy, but I love to read all of the other genres too: contemporary romance, mystery thrillers, some sci fi, some historical in the mix. So, a little bit of everything. I'll let my co hosts introduce themselves. They are links down below, so please give them a follow, and one might be joining soon.
Hi everyone, I'm Teresa Beasley. I write under the pen name T.A. Beasley. I am a thriller author. Um, my latest book that came out is The Journal. So, and I also have two YA books out that are general fiction and YA mystery. So,
Nice.
basically. And I'm currently working on a thriller now, an adult thriller now. So,
Yay.
um, I'm Vanessa. I go by Vanessa Marie Books. I write fantasy, paranormal, YA, but also nonfiction and some poetry. Um, and yeah, I'm excited to be here and talk about the book.
yay.
Yay. So, the first question that we ask is what is your overall thoughts, feels, and opinions on the book? What star rating or number rating would you give it on Goodreads or your preferred reviewing platform? And is there someone who's itching to go first?
Oh, I can go first if you want to.
Sure. Take it
I
away.
never go first.
Yeah, it's your turn.
It's my turn. Okay. The Secret Library. I gave it a 4.5 stars. I I like the concept of the book. I thought I, I really like portal or traveling books. especially when it's middle grade. I think it's so cool. The concept of the secret library, I like the concept of that, where she's going and she's kind of taking trips into her past and learning about her family history. Because I think a lot of times um, we don't we don't get all of our parents' history or our family history growing up, and I think this was a very good way of like learning your history while you're taking adventures and kind of helping along the way. Now, her mom was the only thing that I did not care for. Her mom, but I love the relationship between her and the grandfather. She was really close with her grandfather, and the reason why she ended up going down this road to the secret library and learning all these things. But I just thought that her mom was a little controlling and wasn't letting her be a kid. I mean, she's 11 years old. Let her be a kid. That was
Mhm.
the only thing that I did not care for in the book. And I'm sure there's other stuff, but we'll talk about that stuff kind of later when we get into the spoilery section and stuff. But I thought it had very good quotes in it. I thought the actual traveling part that she was going through, and I think the adventures were really good. And I think she was learning a lot. And I really liked the reveal toward the end. I was excited when
Yep,
I got to,
same.
when I got to that part. Now, granted, I just finished this like maybe 10, 15 minutes before we started, but
Nice. Fresh. It's fresh.
so it was fresh. But overall, I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was a really, really good middle grade book to jump into and read and actually flow through. Um, so that's why I give it 4.5 stars.
Nice.
Um, okay, I guess I'll go. I uh so I was excited going into this one, um, because it looked really cool and interesting, which is why I suggested it for the club. Um, but was it wasn't quite what I was expecting. Um, so going into it, I thought there was going to be something more that Dolly would have to do. I I liked her journey of, seeing her past, um, her family line ancestors, and learning more about that. Um, but I also thought there was going to be something bigger to all of this, um, especially with the library, how it was the library has all these secrets. And I don't know, for some reason I was kind of thinking that um, something would happen to put the library at risk or in danger, like someone would be trying to destroy it and she'd have to stop them or something like that. Um, so it was more simple than what I was expecting. Um, and there's a lot that I do like about it. Although the ending for me, I was underwhelmed with the ending, and it just feels like it felt kind of off to me, the pacing of everything, um, and how everything unfolded. Because I think the ending to me kind of felt rushed, and we're going through a lot of stuff really quick within the last couple of chapters. Um, so I think the pacing uh, was kind of an issue for me with that. And I just wanted to see. more to it, more that happened. Um, as we get some of her adventures and she learns these things. Um, but then, you know, like I said, it kind of felt rushed to me towards the end, which we can get into that when we get into spoilers. Um, but overall, not bad. I gave it, I think, 3.75.
Nice. I think you had really good points, and I feel like I rated it a 5. It was probably like a 4.5 for me, but I have a lot of the same thoughts as both Teresa and Vanessa. Whereas where the story went where I wasn't expecting it to, um, so it was me having to be like, okay, well, let me switch my expectations of what I thought this book was, and then I still really enjoyed it because of how it went, like how her journey was, and I realized, oh, okay, what I thought in my head is not the story that this book is trying to tell. It's more about her past, because at first I was like, oh, the secret library, she's gonna go, portal fantasy to all these different worlds, blah blah blah. And so then realizing like, oh no, it's her past and she's discovering the secrets. I really loved the concept of the secret library. Like it's not the secret library, it's the secret library. I
Mm-hmm.
liked that little distinction in the book. But it it yeah, I think it was me realizing like the messages that Kekla was trying to present like through Dally with her trying to figure out like what's the secret that she needs to find out in this specific, part of the past. And I really liked the reveal too at the end. I thought that was cool. um I did think, yeah, it was weird because like there wasn't this like major like villain, like this bad guy or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would be like trying to destroy the library or something. And then I was just I was just like, this the Dally's mom is just so like, she just doesn't get it. And that was making me think like, does she know about the library and the Whisper Society and all of that? Like, is her business really something involving this magical life? And that's why she's like trying to prepare her for it. But then it turned out it wasn't. So I was like, okay, the mom really is just this horrible businesswoman that's just doesn't have a clue. Um so I mean, and I liked that because I was able to hate someone, like she was kind of like the villain, um in a way. But I really liked the representation in it with Dally being biracial. That is something that we don't get to read enough of. And oh, thanks, Raf. Hello, happy Sunday.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in. And Dally's friend, Evan, who was trans,
Mm-hmm.
and of course her her ancestors who ended up being gay. And so I just really appreciated the representation in the book. But yeah, so it was this weird thing for me where a lot of times if my expectations aren't met with what I think the book is going to be about, I can't get into it, but I was able to get into the story. So yeah, so that's what I thought.
Well, the reason why I gave it 4.5 is because I was thinking that the mom knew about the secret library and what her dad was leaving Dowdy, and that she was trying to keep her from that because she knew what the end game was going to be. Um,
Mm,
so that's what I was
okay.
thinking. And as I'm reading it, I'm thinking of eventually it's going to come up and her mom's going to have this argument about that particular thing because as soon as, she got the what she was getting in the inheritance, her mom was like, well, I'll handle that. And she like took it and hid it in the safe or whatever. So I was thinking, okay, maybe her mama knows. Mom knows that the secret library exists and that her grandfather wants her to be a part of this society, and she doesn't want her to do that, so she's trying to keep it from her. So that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. So I was like, okay, that was kind of a disappointment because I thought they was gonna have this argument about it, and
Right. And then it kind
Dolly
of
was
turns out
gonna,
that like reveals that like she didn't know about it because Dally sent the
yeah,
email to her mom explaining what happened and to visit
happen.
her. Yeah, so
And I was like, oh,
that
so
was
her
the thing. I
mom
thought she
didn't.
knew.
I did too. I thought reading the whole thing that it was going to come up and they were going to have to talk about it. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. She really didn't know about this particular library, so her dad kept it from her as well. And then
Mhm.
another thing is when she was kept going back to the library, it was like she was getting all her mother's side of things, but rarely got her dad's side of things. So I just felt like the dad's history was left out
Mm.
of the secrets that she was jumping into. I didn't feel like her dad was represented a lot within the book. It was
Mm.
mainly her mom's line. And if it's a
Yeah.
secret library, every time you go to look at a secret, whatever volume you're picking, did it always have to be her family's secret? Is it set up where the library is just only letting you see your family's secrets?
I think she could see any secrets, right? Except for Jenna cakes. Um
That's
And I
what
wanted
that's what I think they said, but it didn't seem like it because
yeah,
well, the secret she picked up had something to do with her family.
family. Hmm.
mhm. I'm
That
not
was
yeah.
that was kind of the other thing that I was thinking was like I feel like the rules of the library, how it works, how um, the time travel is and everything. I think that could have been better explained. Um,
Hmm.
it wasn't it wasn't fully explained, and so it was. And I know I get that. We're finding out more and more about the library as Dally does, but there was still a lot of things that I'm like, okay, this doesn't quite make sense. I feel like we could use a bit more of an explanation here how this whole
Hmm.
um, and even in thinking about that, um, kind of surprising as well that uh, Jenna cake,
Jenna cakes,
Jenna
yeah.
cake.
Jenna cake. It's
It,
surprising that she didn't tell Dally more in the beginning, um, in terms of okay, here's what to expect, and here are the do's and don'ts of what you should or shouldn't or can't do. Um,
mm,
because the way Dally was just a lot of stuff, like her talking to Jack and them both finding out that they're both uh, travelers from the secret library, and like Jenna Cake was surprised, how do you know that you guys talked about the library in a secret? You're not supposed to do that. It's like, well, you haven't told us what we can. And then her. do all these journey trips without telling her what she can or can't do. Because how do you know, like, what if she
Mm.
does something to change history? Like, is that even a possibility? Can you
Yes.
change history? Um, which, you know, that part is still unclear, even by the end of this. I'm like, it's still kind of, I'm guessing you can change history, but it's still kind of unclear.
The way I remember her describing it is that you can't change it because if you're going back in time and changing something, it's already been changed. So, like, you've already affected it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that was how I took it. Um, I'm trying to see if I wrote anything about it in a specific way. But I know, like, she's like,
I
"Oh,
don't
the
think I
fog
did.
is the library's way of keeping you safe, so you, like, can't pass it." And so I thought there was gonna be something where, like, she ends up passing through the fog or whatever. Just,
And
like,
can't get back.
okay, so she said the rule, you can't talk to someone about the library, and it's rare to encounter another traveler, so it's like, well, what happens when you do talk about the library? What happens when you do go past the fog? Like, what would have happened to her? That would have been interesting to know.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we um we find out, I think, at the
At the
end,
very end, yeah.
because that's how she ends up staying in the past.
Oh, that was her. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was her way of staying in the past. Is she?
Yeah.
Because she seemed like she was kind of angry that the library chose her a little bit. Like she was kind of upset about that. And I
Mhm.
think it was because her grandfather knew and never told her. So he didn't really prepare her for
Mm.
this. So I think that's why you get a little hint of her anger. And then she's just like, you know what? I'm
Well,
not going to deal with what my mom is saying. I'm just going to do what I want to do at this point. And because I'm going to be
yeah.
stuck here anyway.
I
So I think
I
she
didn't.
decided to, stay there and help her grandfather with the treasure.
Yeah, I didn't even like think about that. That like, um, her grandpa gave her the envelope with like access to the bank account, but then also the letter about this, and the map to the
Mhm.
secret library, and being like, yeah, I know you're gonna look at this,
Mhm.
before you're 21. And so, like, he knew she was gonna look at it when she was, 11, 12. So he could have, like, warned her, like, "Don't look yet because you've got your whole life ahead of you.
Mhm.
This is what's gonna happen." Or was he doing her a service by giving her that independence to make that choice, or mistake? I don't know.
Maybe,
Yeah.
like you said, like you said, since they said you can't really change the past because whatever you change will have already happened. So since he knew
Mm.
she had already traveled and did all this stuff at that age. So he didn't really say anything that would change her decisions.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, that makes sense because he
Yeah.
did say, "Well, why you keep coming back here?" So maybe that's why he did it that way because he already knew that she had already, came
I already
came
know.
back.
I already know what you're gonna do.
She already knew. He already knew what she was gonna do, which is maybe that's why.
Mm. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
But so
I mean,
when you oh, sorry, you can go.
I was just gonna say that I can understand where she's coming from when she realizes that who her grandfather really is, and that they had been passing all this time, and that they were basically, black too. And she felt
Mhm.
like her life was just like this whole big lie because her mom, must have
Is
known.
yeah.
Well, I guess her mom wouldn't have known because her mom was born after the fact because her grandfather and her dad. Which I'm glad you get a glimpse of that brother situation where they're, because then when you do get to the point where they reveal who the grandfather really is when she's going back, you kind of understand. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is like it's really this big family secret.
But did they ever answer whether her mom knew that she was a fourth black herself?
No, I don't think it did.
No, they didn't.
Mm-mm.
And maybe
Yeah.
she didn't. Maybe she didn't know, and that's her now that's her journey of going like reading Dali's email and then
Mm-hmm.
going to the secret library, and now she's gonna find out her secret. Oh, you know what? Because
Yeah,
I wrote down here, the library was a place to find out who you
who
really
you
are.
really are.
So
Yeah,
Dali had to go so that now her mom
we'll
can
have to take
know.
the
Yeah.
same journey. And
Mm.
then it's nice too because she did exactly what her grandfather did with her. She did it with her grandchild,
Yeah.
which I thought it was cool that she had the whole family tree in the book. I thought
Yeah.
that was.
So that was where my question was that since Dali's replaces Jenna Cake as the librarian, like was she allowed to leave the library? And
No,
okay, because I
No.
was like, how does Dali have this like family line now? She has a husband, she has kids.
because she stayed in the
She
past.
stayed.
She came back to the library when she was old. So she lived in the past and grew up in the past and had her family and all that. And then
Hmm.
came back when she was like in her 70s or something.
She was in her mid 70s when she came
Oh.
back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I was so confused. I was like, "Wait, what's this family tree? I don't understand."
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, she.
The funny thing about the family tree to me was the fact that Dolly is born in 2012 and she's
Hmm.
a granddaughter born in 2016.
Oh.
I didn't even catch that.
I didn't even catch these dates. That
I
yeah,
didn't even
AJ's
catch
from
that.
1950, and then
Mm-hmm.
her kids are born in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even pay attention to that. And her
And her
granddaughter is
granddaughter.
born in.
Her kids are technically older than her.
Wait.
Right.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Wow, I completely missed that. That's crazy.
So her
Well,
husband
that's
was
why when I
way
said
older than her.
I wasn't ready when I was 11, I'm ready now. And I was like, what, 11 and a half? Like, that's what
Right.
I didn't get that. Okay. Oh my God. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, in her mid 70s. Like, okay. I just completely, oh, that's so funny. Um, I thought that's kind of cool. Like I really liked this book because it wasn't like anything I've ever read. Like just that, yeah, it's just with that time travel piece of it, yet
Yeah.
it's like not you can't change it. That because usually if you go in the past, like it's the
It
whole
changes.
butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um, but like, uh, kind of also like Teresa was saying, I was expecting like, um, part of why I said I feel like the ending is rushed and like the pacing is off. It's because like I was expecting, like you said, that she would end up in this fight with their mom eventually. They would
Mhm.
do this big fight, but then they would somehow resolve it, reconcile, whatever.
Mm,
But
Mhm.
it ends up that she just goes on one more adventure, decides to stay in the past and live her life
Mhm.
in the past, and then send her mom an email later on, uh,
mm,
trying to get her to come to the library to explain things. And so we never really see, you know, their like we're told that the relationship got better once read some of the secrets to go to the past and do this journey with her.
mm.
It helped their relationship, but we never got to see any of that or see how they came back together or whatever.
Mhm.
And so yeah, that's why I'm kind of like I I wanted more from the end, and it just felt like we're told a lot of things and rushed through the end,
Mm.
but we don't see very much of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I thought that maybe they were going to have an argument, but then kind of, I thought that their relationship would have been repaired before she decided to stay at the library. That's what
Yeah.
I thought was going to happen, but then it didn't. So then you're like left with, hey, they are the only two left. So are they better? Are they not better? And then she rushes into the library seeing she's missing her daughter, and her daughter is actually standing there talking to her, having her calm down. But I'm like, that just wasn't enough for me.
Right.
I wanted them to. And then another thing, like you said, Vanessa, you really are going into it thinking that something's going to happen with the library where she's going to have to save the library and then ultimately stay in the library to protect the library.
Mhm.
But that would have been awesome if that would have happened while she was in one of the adventures and then something goes wrong and maybe one of the people there wanted to destroy and maybe her grandfather was trying to protect that from not happening, and then they actually realize, oh, well, she's the new person, so then they come after her. They end up in the secret library. Something happens, and she has to try to like fight these people off to get them back into their secret. That would have been exciting and like so cool to me.
The pirates coming out
Like the
swashbuckling.
pirates come down, they all trying to, and she's trying to save them, and it would have been so cool if that would have happened.
Mm.
But not that, her learning about her family and things, but I'm sorry that she had to learn that way, that her family had been passed in and doing all this stuff, and this is how their legacy and their family legacy was built. But I really wanted her and her mother's relationship to be repaired, and I just wanted the exciting, because, you know, when you go on a venture, there should be some
Yeah.
stuff happening. I
Yeah.
mean,
It was a little
especially,
bit of quieter
yeah, like a quieter,
action.
like,
Quieter.
I mean, the most excitement was when they stole the boat.
Yes, yeah. Looking for the treasure. I want to say that I also agree with the ending where I thought that she was going to confront her mom as well. So then when it ended that way, I was like, wow, like I feel like there's some things that are unresolved, but the
Hmm.
fact that the mom came back, I was like, okay, it's this unspoken thing. Like if there were an epilogue, like then it would show their resolution. But I wish we got that because
Hmm.
it was it felt so unresolved because their relationship was so strained. So to just have it kind of be told and then an expectation was a little hard because I wanted there to be that like not
Hmm.
redemption, but like that that
The
circumstance.
repair. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
repair of the relationship. Yeah.
Well, especially because it seems like um, the climax of the story happens where this is where I say the pacing feels off because the climax comes like way towards the end when she decides to
Mm-hmm.
stay in the past, and yeah, that happens in chapter 51, I think.
Yeah. 51. Yeah.
Mm,
And there's only 53 chapters of the book,
wow.
and, or 54 chapters.
54. Yeah.
And
Mm,
then most of them are pretty short chapters.
yeah.
So I'm like, this is coming way late. Um, we're finally getting to the climax, but this is where we should be close to, you know, the resolution at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mm.
Do you think that she had all that in it, and then it was too many words, and they had her cut words down,
I don't know.
and so
Um,
she kind of like had to like because sometimes you can have more words, and then with middle grade they want you to be at a certain word count, and
Right.
maybe they had her cut some of it out, and this was the best way for her to be
Mm.
able to keep what she wanted the story to be, but she just had to condense it
and
down, even if it made the readers unsatisfied.
and see, that's why I thought when we were getting towards the end of this, uh,
Mhm.
and it didn't seem like there was going to be a resolution yet. I had thought that maybe this was going to be part of a series and then
Mm-hmm.
another
Me
book
too. Me too.
until we get to the actual like last chapter or two where she's old and now she's ready to take over the library. I think it would have been better though if it was split into a series because there's a lot that you could do with the story.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of different adventures that you could get into and really explore, and we would have had that time to see her and her mom's relationship get better as
Repair. Mm-hmm.
well. So
Yeah.
I I think this should have been a
It could have
series.
been a duology.
Yeah, at least a duology. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
felt like that too. I felt like it was
Yeah.
so expansive and like the secret library, you could do so much
Yeah, because
with
the library
this.
is huge.
Yeah, so that's what I felt like too. Like I was like, "Oh, I feel like this deserves more books." Like this story, it doesn't feel like it should wrap up now.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, because
uh,
they could go into the mother, since the mother's there and she's like, come on inside, everything's gonna be all right. You could go with the mother, or you could even, since she left everything to her granddaughter Mabel, the Mabel could,
Mm-hmm.
visit the secret library, and then that's when something dangerous happens, and then she has to like save the library. I mean, you could do a lot of stuff with that. I mean, so if it was a duology, I think that would be awesome. I mean,
yeah, that would be
I
cool.
really like the book, but like you said, the ending, I just wanted more stuff.
Mhm.
I wanted
Mm-hmm.
the adventures to be more than just, you
Mm-hmm.
know, maybe if she went accidentally went into somebody else's secret, and and before jumping into another one of hers, or I mean, because there was
Right.
a lot of shells she could have picked from that
Mhm.
she that Jenny Cakes told her about.
And like
Mhm.
you said, um she only got secret reveals from one side of her family. There's
Yeah,
other side with their dad's family that we
Yes.
don't get much of.
yeah. And
There,
that's the only thing I didn't care for is that you don't get Marcus's side of her family. It's just all her mother's side.
Mhm.
And I just felt that the Arthur neglected her dad's side of the family, and we should have got a
Yeah.
little bit more of Marcus.
Yeah.
there was a lot more that could have been explored.
Yeah,
I
I
liked
mean,
getting
because
to see
didn't
how
he
they
die?
met, like, and like that was cool to be like
Yes,
her, like Trippy, like seeing them younger and meeting for the first time, and yeah.
and
But
how
what were
they
you gonna
fell for each
say?
other. Um, what was I gonna say?
How he died?
Yeah, did it ever say how he died? Because Marcus did die, didn't he?
I was gonna ask you guys.
Yeah, I
I
think,
think didn't she say he died?
yeah, he did. I think it was an accident. They didn't say exactly how, just
Okay.
that he was on one of his adventures and there was an accident.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Because I remember her crying and saying, "I can't believe he's gone," but I didn't know if she was talking about her grandfather or she was talking about her husband.
Yeah, it was her husband.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that was something I couldn't recall. Hmm.
Um, yeah. So, I was gonna ask, what did you guys think of all the reveals though with her family?
They family
Yeah,
had a lot going on.
that was crazy. I mean, like one brother, um, Jack's brother being lighter skinned, or Jack being lighter
Jack being
skinned,
lighter skin
and his
and
brother being darker skinned. He essentially like abandons his family to live this other life, to live,
life
Mhm.
yeah, to,
to live as a white person.
yeah, that was
That was
tricky.
like
I was not expecting that.
I was not either. I was like, okay,
And being
this
like, "Hey,
just
this
got
is the
serious.
hint in place. Yeah, this is and but then he had to that allowed him to buy the house, which is
Mhm.
where Dally was staying, and so yeah, just seeing like
Yeah.
how their lineage changed because of that.
Especially when the brother tells him denying who you are is kind of a death.
Mm,
Someday
It's,
you're going to realize that and want to show up at this door, but it'll be too late. You want to disappear? Fine. You're dead to me. I was like, oh, ouch.
ooh,
That hurts.
yeah,
I was like, whoa, okay.
but I mean,
Wow.
essentially, that is kind of what he's doing by wanting to pass as white and just not be tied or connected to the
Right.
black part of his family. He's essentially saying like you know cutting ties in a way and saying like, yeah, we're not brothers, we're brothers, pretty much.
yeah.
Right. Like,
Um,
And she was like, he always told me to like be proud of my blackness, but like it was just like this kind of conundrum of like,
yeah. It was like he wasn't proud of his blackness because he wanted to live as a white person. So it's like you just like kind of cut off
well, that
everybody.
that was Jack's dad. Remember, Jack's
Oh
dad
yeah, Jack's dad was the one that just
Jay,
basically
uh,
like
cut it
cut
off.
off.
Jay, yeah, that
Yeah,
was Jay, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Jay. He just like basically cut off. Now the reveal that got me was Eli,
Hmm.
Yes,
Pete
yes,
and Pete and Eli.
Eli.
I was like, what is really going
Phil,
on?
Phil. Wait, who was that?
uh, like on page 2, when she said, "I have many secrets. You are about to learn the biggest of them all," and you find out that she's having a kid.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, wait a minute, she's a woman and she's been pregnant this whole time.
She
I'm like,
wasn't
what?
she wasn't pregnant the whole time. She was pregnant when they went back, when Donnelly went back and they were in the prison. She had to help them.
Yes. I was
Oh.
like, whoa. I'm like, she was pregnant the whole time they was in the prison part.
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm
Um,
like, Dahlia, what is up with your people?
Yeah, they're all.
I'm surprised though that I'm like wondering what if she was really small for
She
her
had to be.
or something. Because I'm like, how do you hide? She literally gave birth not too long after they escaped. So I'm like, how do you hide a 9 month, no, almost
Pregnancy.
pregnancy?
I
Right.
mean, did she have on baggy clothes and stuff? Cause
I was
Must have.
wondering.
Must
I
have.
was
Yeah,
saying,
really.
I mean,
yeah,
she had to have baggy clothes and stuff.
Mm.
because they talked about her, or they talked about Eli having pain and stuff, but and not feeling well. But I just thought he had some kind of illness. I did not
Mm-hmm.
realize he was, or yeah, I did not realize that he was in labor.
Yeah, that like threw me off. I was like, "What is going on?" And I was thinking the same thing, Vanessa. How does she hide this
Mm.
if she's supposed to be 9 months pregnant and about to have this kid, and she's going into labor? How does she hide it?
There's
I was,
some people that, like, they don't even know that they're pregnant, they're going to the hospital because they have stomach pains, and then they literally give
yeah, I
birth,
went to
like.
school with a girl that did that.
It's so,
But
yeah,
she, yeah, yeah, she played basketball and it was a game, and she went in labor in the game, and none of us knew it.
oh my
And her
god.
water broke on the court, and she started, and they had to rush her to the hospital, and none of us knew that she was pregnant. It was
Oh
strange.
my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. And my sister in law did that. You could not tell she was pregnant until like her last month. Then she got kind of big.
Mm.
But I know me personally having kids. Since I had my first son young, I hid my pregnancy by wearing really baggy clothes while I went to school, so nobody would know I
Mm.
was pregnant
Yeah,
until I couldn't hide anymore because he was a big baby. But um, my oldest son was a big baby, but yeah. So the only thing I could think of was that she was wearing really baggy clothes
must have
because
been.
it worked for
Yeah.
me. I don't know if it worked for me back then, but that was back in the '80s, so you know.
Well, yeah, I thought it was, it's on, page 236 where, Dally's saying they're making the best of a tough situation. Like Grandpa always said, it's up to you to find a way to live your best life, no matter what circumstances the world throws at you. And I really
Hmm.
liked
Yeah.
that quote.
Yeah, I marked that one too.
Yeah. The other one you read, I was like, oh, I had that one down. There were a lot of good quotes in here. I
It
did like the
was.
writing style, and there were some beautiful descriptions too.
Hmm.
Um, like, oh, where's one?
Mm,
The one
I
where on. Oh, sorry.
I liked how she described the traveling, like
Mm,
when she would show up at the secret or whatever. But I like how she described how they went back to like the present time. How she described how the darkness would come and it would pull her back, and she would get mad because she wanted to stay and find out what was going to happen.
yeah, she always wasn't ready to go back.
She was not ready to go back.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean,
which
you know,
is why the library, I guess, chose her. as Jonake said, it chooses people who don't want to leave. So,
Mm. Mm.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, this is way better than having to make presentations for your mom to ask to join clubs and,
yeah.
Yeah.
getting an hour of play a day that is scheduled.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
She's a kid.
Mhm.
That drove me
Yeah, her mom being
crazy. I'm
like,
like,
to her mother, there was nothing more important in life than work. And then on page 10, I'm your mother. I don't have to be reasonable. Sometimes in business, we don't get what we want. And Dally said, in family too, I guess.
yeah, I
I
mean,
was like, this poor little 11-year-old.
Yeah.
can't even be a kid. And
Yeah.
she didn't
Yeah.
really give her the.
I do wonder what happened to make the mom like that. Like,
Yeah.
I know she said, they struggled and she had that argument with her dad one time about, the finances of the business and how much the business is struggling. So I get all that, but I'm just like, I feel like there had to be something more to this, um, to react this way and to be like uh, so strict
Mm,
with their daughter who's 11,
yeah.
especially if she grew up with a comfortable life and not really
Mm-hmm.
money. It's like, okay, so I feel like there's something else there that we're missing, we're not getting.
Mm. Yeah, because it's like, it's one thing to be controlling, but she was like so extreme. I'm like, this is
Yeah, she was.
just unfathomable. So, hmm.
Um, also, um, I forgot, I was gonna say something about what Teresa mentioned earlier. I forget about not, I think the grandpa not liking himself. It was,
Um.
I think it was the quote you read, maybe.
Mm,
Um,
Oh, it was the quote that the brother said to him.
yeah,
When he decided that he wanted to pass his white and go. I think it was because he enlisted and he was saying that he was going to live his life as a white person, and his brother was mad because he was like, okay, so you're basically saying, well, at first he said your mama's black, your daddy's black, all your siblings and cousins black, but you want to walk high and mighty just because you came out a little lighter than the rest of us. This war is bigger than.
mm,
So he was trying to explain to him he was doing it so he could go to the war and help out and protect all of them, but the brother wasn't seeing it like that, and he was like, I want opportunities. You know, there's things out there for me, things a black man can never get, starting with a chance to serve and not in no one's kitchen. So he was like, I don't want to be in the kitchen. I want to go serve so I can help all of us. So you can't blame him for that. But that's when his brother was saying that he's denying who he is, which is a death. So he was like in his feelings and was like, then you're dead to me then.
yeah.
Since you don't want to, you know, you're willing to go off and die for a country that really doesn't care about us.
Yeah. And on page 326, when Dally is, revealing to Jack that he's black,
Black.
she's like,
Hmm.
anyways, it's all a big lie. There's no difference between you and the people who live on the other side of town. The exact same blood runs in your veins. Jack was quiet. The exact same blood, Dally emphasized, but you get to have all this. She spreads her arms to indicate the expansive lawn. While half your family can't even own a house in the same neighborhood, your father's a hypocrite.
Yep.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
this is oh, I think I remember where I was going with this now. Um, Actually, I think Holly, you were the one that mentioned uh, how Jack always taught her to be proud of being black, proud of who she is,
Yeah.
and,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
yet here he is denying that side of himself. And so I think another interesting thing we could have seen would have been like how did her grandfather, sort of come to accept that side of him, or did he ever accept that side of him? Because one, it doesn't seem like her mom even knows that she's part black.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If her mom doesn't know, that makes me think that maybe he, he never told her, like he still struggled with accepting it himself. But if that were the case, then how was he able to, you know, help Dali to accept herself, accept her blackness?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. That is true.
That's
Yeah.
why, like, yeah, her calling him a hypocrite is like, yeah,
Mhm.
that's because, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And I mean, I do believe that, yeah, he didn't fully accept it because he would have then been open about it to her mom.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But he was open enough to get Dali to accept it. So that's, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, um, Let me see.
So cool.
It's there was something else I was gonna say. I'm trying to think. Um,
So, what did y'all think about Jenna cakes?
what about her?
About Jenna cakes? I'm sorry, I did not like that name.
I thought
It,
it was weird.
it was a
I
weird.
She could have gave her a better name. I did not like that name.
Yeah.
I
I think it just she was mysterious. There was still just like because Dally couldn't see her secrets.
mm,
So it she just was this
Right.
kind of there was this like always this divide where I kind of felt like I couldn't really get to know her.
I
Yeah.
I thought we were uh eventually gonna find out that she was part of Dali's family somehow, like
Mhm.
maybe a descendant from the future or something,
Mm,
that
that would have
used
made
the
sense.
secret library. But it never said anything about her, and she's not on the map, the family tree, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
So
No, she
Oh,
wasn't.
I don't know.
right.
I thought there would be more to her that we would learn. But again, this is why I'm like, there's so much with this book that there's so many directions you could have went with it, and it I definitely think it should have been um, more than one book for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
you don't really know that much about Jenna cakes. I mean, she was very mysterious, and
Hmm.
you don't know how she ended up at the library, even though she said the library did whisper her Dali's name to be the next librarian, and
Hmm.
I'm assuming that she like died when when Dali took over. Because
I think
I
so.
mean,
Yeah. And just
I'm
was
a,
able to kind of be at yeah. I didn't even think
because
about that.
yeah, because like all her secrets ended up on the cart when Dali came out. It said that Jenna Cake's secrets, I guess, was on the like cart because now that Dally's taken over the apartment room or whatever, all of her stuff goes up in the private area, and all of Jenna Cake's is on the cart. So I'm assuming that Dally has to shelf Jenna Cake's stuff, but
Oh.
I wish she would have opened and read at least one of them. So we,
Yeah, to let her know, like, hey, before I go,
you
here's
know,
me, you know?
here's me. I mean, you're about to die, so why not share yourself with, the president?
Right,
You know,
right.
I mean, tell us something about you.
And
I mean,
I wonder if there was like a rule or something saying that she can't, which is why I said the rules in here are not clearly laid out.
yeah, they wasn't.
I'm like, it was she allowed to share a secret of hers with Dolly, or what happens if Dolly just gets one of her books and opens it? Like, would she
Yeah,
keep a secret? Like, yeah, there was a lot that I think um, needed to be explained further.
and then and
Hold
then
on, I'll be
two, if
right back. You guys keep chatting. I'll be
okay,
right back.
but two, if you're not allowed to leave the library and everything you need is at the library, how's she grocery shopping? That was another thing. I was like, so does the library just make stuff appear to you?
I
You?
I was thinking I was guessing that probably the library presents them with whatever they need. That's what it
Which is kind of
seemed like.
because she always had tea, but I'm like, does she even eat? I mean, does this library provide like everything, all your toiletries, all your clothes, all your food?
It provides clothes, because
Yeah,
there's
because doubt, yeah,
that huge room with all
room with,
clothes from past to present and stuff. So yeah,
yeah, because
I'm guessing the way that um the way that the library transformed her room with getting rid of Jenna Cake's books and putting Dolly's books in there, I'm thinking that's probably the same as whatever they need. It just magically appears.
magically prepares it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know who built this secret library. If it's doing all this stuff.
That's what I want to know. Like, how did the secret library get started? Who,
Mm-hmm.
who found it or created it, or how how did they figure out the how it works and the rules and stuff?
And the rules and stuff, and who started the Whisper Society, and
I was
Like,
just thinking about that. I was when you said about the whisper, I was like, oh yeah, we didn't get to learn too much about
the
no,
Whisper
the
Society
whispers.
or any of that.
Hmm.
there's so much that we.
Yeah.
There's all these like yeah, because I rated it so high, but then I'm like, oh, there are a lot of questions I
Yeah,
have.
now that I think about it, now that we've been discussing it, I'm like, wait
Maybe
a minute.
I
Maybe
know.
it's
It's like
not a 4.5.
yeah, maybe I'm gonna change my rating
Maybe
actually. Like
I'm getting a little bit closer to Vanessa's
in
Well,
retrospect.
rate.
I finished this yesterday, last night around 7, and so I've been thinking about it since. So I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of, because at first I was thinking, um,
Mm,
4 stars, around 4 stars, but then the more and more I was questioning things, I'm like, mm, maybe not so much.
mm,
There's a
Yeah.
lot I
no,
think.
very true. Yeah.
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 I think I'm gonna bring mine to a 4 because that sounds more like I still really enjoyed it
Yeah.
despite the questions I had. That's yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna bring mine down too, because now that we've been discussing, I'm like, wait a
No.
minute, and then and like all the stuff we've been talking about, I have notes at the bottom of the pages we were talking about, and I'm asking all these questions. I'm like, wait a minute. So yeah.
Yeah.
One one question I did kind of want to ask was what so I saw one reviewer say that the diversity in here, um, in particular, like the LGBTQ plus diversity, felt like it was there just for diversity's sake, like to tick a box, and it didn't feel uh,
Hmm.
needed or organic in the story. And I don't agree with that, but I was wondering what you guys thought of it.
I
I didn't
d-
necessarily feel that way. Like it just like,
yeah.
it didn't play this big, this huge part in the story because that's like wasn't what the book was focusing on. It was more of like the family history and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I kind of felt like because it was just like, kind of mentioning like her trans friend and everything and we don't nothing really ever becomes of that. It's kind of
Hmm.
just like, yeah, this is just like any other friend and it doesn't need more explanation kind of thing. So I kind of felt like it was more of this like normalized thing and then in the past like, the 1850s I was like, "Oh man, yeah, you really don't hear about,
That
gay
kind of stuff.
people." Yeah, so for me I thought that was cool because it's not something that people really like talked about or they had to hide it. And so I liked that it was in here. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it really didn't bother me either. I mean, when she mentioned her trans friend, I was like, okay, that's her friend. So, I mean, it didn't really affect the story that much for me.
mhm.
And I think they might have been uh, the way they said in the review. I was assuming they were talking about Eli being trans, um, and kind of his relationship with Pete as well. Which to me, I'm like, I I felt like it was fine. It was natural. I don't think it felt forced or out of place at all. I think sometimes I'm thinking sometimes people expect when there is a certain diverse character that you know uh, there's going to be issues that come up that's talked about in within the story, but this ended up just being like, yeah, this is my identity, but it's not the focus of the story. And I think sometimes
Hmm.
people expect it to like become a focus when it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be. Um,
Yes.
and so I would say that's where I would caution readers on about certain expectations of characters when you're reading this,
Hmm.
just because they have a certain identity that character has doesn't mean the focus of the story needs to be that. They're still
Exactly.
just people, and we can treat them like just people, like any other character. Um,
Yeah, it's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, and it shouldn't affect anything that you're reading
Mhm.
unless you're just going into it with that mindset. I mean, why should that even, it's a character.
mhm.
Right.
Why does that need to be even pointed out in the review? I mean,
Well, that's why I say I think some people just expect some characters, like if they're gonna be in the story, I think they kind of expect it to be like more about that identity.
Mm,
Um,
Mhm.
yeah.
but yeah, I don't. That's where I would say, um, because this person had said it was like, uh, it seemed like it was diversity for diversity sake, like kind of ticking off a checkbox. But I would say it's actually the opposite, where
Mm-hmm.
you know the more you try to focus on their identity when it's not prevalent to the story, the more it seems like that's when it's being forced in or inorganic. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think she did
True.
a good job with it. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah.
they were
Same.
interesting characters. I was shocked that the
People
EI,
were who they were, right?
yeah, when I got to the point of who they were and she had the baby, I'm like, whoa, okay, we're rolling with it. But I mean, I think she did a good job with those particular characters. I don't think she should worry about what they said in that review. I mean,
Mhm.
it doesn't take from the book, it doesn't harm the book, and it doesn't mess with the experience of reading the book. So I think she
Exactly.
did a good job with it.
Yeah. Same.
I mean, you still can connect with all these characters. I just
Yeah.
didn't connect with her mom because I was like, you need to get it together, lady. Listen to your daughter.
Yes, this is definitely a lesson in that for sure.
Yes. I was like, dang, I apologize, mom. I hope I was not that bad.
Oh. Well, we had a very good discussion of the secret library. So thank
Yes.
you, girls, for joining me. If you're watching the replay, please let us know your thoughts. And also join us on our Goodreads group, where we have forums, and then we will post the book poll for May's book of the month around April 15th, 16th. So be on the lookout for that. Um, but also, our April book of the month pick is
Ooh, yeah.
Oathbound by Tracy
Yay.
Dion. We read Legendborn for the book club. We all separately read the second book. We did not read it for the book
Yeah.
club. So this is
I
the third
did
book.
not read it. Yeah, the second one. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, ooh, you're
I
gonna
read
Me
have a
either.
great adventure. Oh, okay.
I'm like in the middle of the second one.
So some good some fun things for this third book in the cycle. So join us for that. And yeah, and I guess we will see you guys next month.
All
Bye
right.
everyone.
it.